What's up, gentlemen? My name is Zach from Muscular Style. I just wanted to say thank you to John for having me on the channel today. Today we are talking about the best dress shoes and boots for men with wide feet. Now, a lot of men have wide feet and they just don't know it. What I recommend that you do is go to a shoe store near you and get sized. There's a Brannock device and it actually tells you the length of your foot, the width of your foot, and it can get you properly sized because there are a lot of sizes of shoes. So today we're talking about 3 of my favorite dress shoes as well as 3 of my favorite boots. Now, there are only a few brands that make triple E width dress shoes, and we are going to go from order of least expensive to most expensive. So number 1 on my list is the Grant Stone Leo LongWing. Now, I have talked about this in a previous video. You can see an unboxing in the card above if you'd like, but this is absolutely an amazing shoe. It is a LongWing, so it does have a lot of broguing. It is more casual. It does have a casual welt, is what it's called, so it sticks out a little bit. This is a super comfortable shoe, and it is very versatile. You can wear it with jeans, chinos. You can wear it with some suits. I wouldn't be wearing this to, say, an interview. It's not a dressy shoe, though it is a dress shoe. It does have the rubber sole, so it is great for rain, snow, a little harsher conditions. But this fit perfectly out of the box. I normally wear a 10.5 triple E. For both the LongWing and the Grant Stone boots, I had to go down a half a size. So I went down to a 10 triple E, and those fit perfectly. Now, some things to consider when you're looking for a quality shoe are first the leather quality. This is a Chrome XL leather, which means you don't need to polish it. You just need to condition it and make sure you brush it off, store it well. Make sure you store it with a shoe tree, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But honestly, this leather will take a beating and doesn't need much care. So it gets a 10 out of 10 for me as far as leather quality goes. Another thing you want to look at is the construction quality, the stitching, the little details. And this shoe absolutely surprised me as far as the stitch density goes. What that means is they stitched a lot per inch, which you don't typically find on less expensive shoes. Another thing to look for when we're talking about quality dress shoes is, can the dress shoes be resoled? So that means, can this entire sole be taken off and replaced so that it can last for years and years to come? And this shoe from Grant Stone absolutely can be resoled. And so if you take care of this leather, this upper here, this shoe can last 20, 25 years, possibly longer depending on how you wear them and how you care for them. Now, this shoe comes in at $298, so it is by far the least expensive of the shoes we're going to talk about. It also is my favorite dress shoe under $300. We are going to come back to this when I compare overall which dress shoes are the most worth it for you. Next on the list is Allen Edmonds. Now, this is an Allen Edmonds Strand in walnut. It does have the V-treads. You can get this in an all leather, a few different variations on this one. This was my first pair of perfectly fitting dress shoes, and I have absolutely loved them. So when we're looking at quality dress shoes, again, the leather quality, and the leather quality on these is amazing. This is a dress shoe. This is something that you could wear with a suit, but you can also wear it with jeans and chinos, especially with this light color. If you do get a darker color, it would be the perfect dress shoe for your suits and more formal occasions. At $395, this dress shoe absolutely is worth it. It can be resold many times. I've had some Allen Edmonds resold, and they come out beautifully. They'll last another 5, 6, 7 years depending on how you wear them. And so really, if you take care of your Allen Edmonds well, you can have them last for decades. Now, I do want to touch on Allen Edmonds really quickly. They have shoes all the way up from 4A through triple E. There are no other shoe companies that have this width range. Allen Edmonds absolutely is going to be your best option as far as getting the widest range of widths. Now, the next shoe that we have is a handmade Italian shoe from Archibald London. Archibald London is not nearly as well known as, say, maybe the other 2 brands of shoes that we've talked about so far, but they're doing some incredible things. Now, this shoe is handmade in Italy. It is absolutely beautiful. It has a single oak bark tanned sole with hidden channel stitching. Basically what that means is this is a very high quality sole on the shoe, and they took great care to detail when making this shoe. And this is something you'll find in, say, like a Carmina or as you go up in quality. Now, the leather on this is absolutely beautiful. This is the burgundy, and these are painted by hand. The width is not on the US width system. So this shoe is actually a G width, which I had to request in the notes when you order. And a G width, depending on the brand, can be closer to a 2E or a 3E. In this case, I believe this is about a 2.5E. It's not quite the width of a 3E, but just know that when you order these, you do need to request that in the notes because they have 2 different lasts for this shoe. But this shoe, when I first put it on, was very uncomfortable. It was tight. It did stretch out over the next few days. It's still not quite as comfortable as my Edmond Strand. But one thing I plan to do is put a stretcher in these and stretch them out just a little bit. It doesn't need much, but they're not quite wide enough for my foot. Now, the leather quality on these is absolutely superb. I love these. I love the look at these. These have a chiseled toe here, which the other shoes do not have. It's a very Italian looking shoe, and it is absolutely beautiful. Now these shoes come in at $499, so they are by far the most expensive of the shoes that we've talked about. That said, the quality of this Italian leather, the hand craftsmanship, and just overall details on this shoe do make it worth that price. If you like this silhouette, this look of this shoe, it is absolutely worth it over the Edmonds. Now, if you do have a wider foot like me, this may not be the greatest option. Again, like I said, though, you can stretch this out with a stretcher that you can get online. So the question remains, if you need to buy a dress shoe and you have a wide foot, which of the 3 dress shoes that I talked about is the most worth it for you? If you are on a budget and you want to spend a little bit less, the Grant Stone Leo LongWing is absolutely what I would go with. The problem with this shoe is that if you need a dress shoe for suits, you need something for an interview, a little more dressy, this is not going to be the shoe that I recommend. If you already have that shoe and you want something a bit more casual, something that you can wear on the weekends, out in the rain or harsher conditions, and really take a beating but still look elegant, this is the shoe that I would go with. If you need a dress shoe and you know you're not a 2E, you're closer to a 3 or a 4E, the Edmonds is absolutely the way I would go. You can get these as seconds, so a little bit less expensive, or you can get them on Amazon as well. But this is the shoe that is going to get you through the interviews for your suits, but it can also be casual in that it can be worn with jeans or chinos. Now the last shoe is the Archibald London. This shoe is for those of you out there who just want the absolute best quality shoe. You want the supple Italian leather, you want the hand craftsmanship detail, and you just want the best absolute shoe. That said, you also need to know that you're between a 2 and a 3E and not wider than a 3E, or be okay with buying a stretcher and stretching these out just a touch. These are incredible shoes. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're absolutely worth the $500 price tag. That said, these are not going to be as versatile. You can't wear these with jeans. You might be able to get away with wearing them with chinos, but likely you're going to need to have slacks, trousers, sport jacket, or a suit to be able to wear these beautiful shoes. Our next category is boots. Now boots are easier to find in wider widths than dress shoes are, so there is a lot more variety out there than what I'm going to show you here, but I'm going to show you 3 different price points and give you my thoughts on each. So the first shoe that we're looking at is the Thursday boot Captain boot. Now I've had these for a little while. These come in at under $200, and so they are a good price point boot. They do have pretty good quality construction. The leather is a decent quality leather. It's not my favorite, but the Captain boot in the leather is a decent buy. I have had some issues with the quality control on my suede Chelsea boots of these. I actually ripped a hole in the back of them after a few months. I haven't heard that complaint often, and I had 2 other pairs of these in the leather and didn't have an issue. Now, the quality of leather and construction is not up to par with, say, an Edmond or the Grant Stone that we're going to talk about. Again, this is an under $200 boot. It's $199, and so you can't really compare it to $300 to $400 boots. Now, this is a wide width. What that means is they say it's between a 2 and a 3E. Likely it's a 2.5E. It is a bit snug for my foot. It has stretched out a little bit, but it's not quite as wide as my foot is. So if you want to spend under $200, you want a Goodyear welted shoe where this is stitched on, you can resole this. This is possibly a good buy for you. We'll come back to my thoughts on which boot is best and if this is worth the $200 or if you should save your money for a more expensive boot. Our next boot is the Grant Stone Diesel boot. Now this is a vegetable tanned leather. This is one of the most beautiful boots that I've ever seen or worn. This does have a leather sole, which I absolutely love. Now this boot comes in at $368, but the quality of the craftsmanship and the quality of the leather is beyond what I would have expected. Again, like the dress shoes, the stitch density is very high. Quality of craftsmanship and the attention to detail is just a lot more than I would expect at this price point. Now this is a vegetable tan leather, so this will patina and darken very quickly. Obviously I haven't worn it enough to do that yet, but this is one of my favorite boots. This leather is very thick, and the break-in on this is a bit uncomfortable and quite a bit longer than the other boots, but in my opinion it's absolutely worth it. So this is the Grant Stone Diesel boot. Again, it is a 3 width. This was the most comfortable of the 3 boots when I first put them on as far as width goes. Break-in, obviously not so much, but since I've broken them in, they have become incredibly comfortable. And our most expensive boot is the Edmonds Higgin Mills boot. This comes in at $425. It is a Chrome XL boot, so it can take a beating and still keep going. Really, you just need to condition this and make sure that the leather stays hydrated, and then store it with a shoe tree. Now this does have a Dynamite sole, which is great for the rain, snow, harsh conditions. This is a great go-to boot for that. This doesn't have as high of a stitch density as the Grant Stone boot did, but that's not the sign of a quality boot. It's just one thing to take a look at. The Edmonds are the only shoes that are made here in the USA. The other 2 are made either in China or Mexico. Now on to which boot I think is the most worth it. If you only have $200 to spend, you cannot spend any more, you're not willing to wait and save up for a better boot, Thursday Boots is a good option. Just make sure that you go with the Captain. Stay away from the suede, at least in my opinion. I know John and others have had good luck with those. Take my word with a grain of salt. I just had a bad experience, so that's my personal opinion, but these have held up well. I also had the wingtips, which did also hold up well. So if you're only gonna spend $200, this is a decent option. If it were me, I wouldn't buy these. I would save up and buy a different boot. For best overall quality boot, I'm going to give it to the Grant Stone Diesel boot. These are amazing. The leather quality, the attention to detail is just superb. These are made in China, so if you want a USA made boot, these are not going to be for you. But if you just want the absolute best quality boot for the best price, these are where I would go. And in fact, I would buy these over Edmonds even if I had $425 to spend, because I feel like these are a much better quality and a much better value for your money. Also, the fit for me was perfect. These have not stretched in width, and so for the wider feet, these are the best option in my opinion. Now, if you want a tried and true classic, you want something that's made in America, the Edmonds Higgin boots are your pick. These do come in at over $400, so you are paying for the quality and the made in USA. But these, like the Grant Stones, can be resold over and over to make them last 20, 25, 30 years, so long as you care for them. Those are my thoughts on the Edmonds Higgin Mills. If I had to pick one brand to go with out of all of these, I would pick Grant Stone. They do have the wide dress shoes, they have the wide boots. Their selection is not that great at the current moment, though I have heard that they're expanding it, but their quality, their attention to detail, the fit are all perfect. And so that is the one brand I would look at. Now, one more thing I want to touch on is caring for wide width shoes. They are the same as any other shoe as far as shoe polish conditioning goes, but the one thing that I've noticed is that shoe trees need to be a specific type to be able to work in wide width shoes. Now, I've tried about 5 or 6 different kinds of shoe trees at this point. I have the Edmonds just full toe here. I've also tried the full lasted shoe trees that have the extendable side, and those also didn't work well. They actually started to pull and stretch leather in places they shouldn't. Only ones I recommend are the combination. This allows for it to go in the shoe easily because it's not quite as wide at the heel, and to expand to the width of the shoe to keep a proper shape. So these are from Woodlore. I've linked these below if you want to take a look. But these are absolutely my favorite shoe trees, and it is important to make sure you have this combination. Otherwise, it won't support the width of the shoe. I hope you've enjoyed today's content. If you have, please follow me over at Muscular Style, where we talk about style for the muscular man. And John, thank you so much for having me on the channel today. Gentlemen, until next time, stay muscular and stay stylish.